for a warm welcome as our webinar's MC today. And first of all, before I start, I would like to express my gratitude and special appreciation to STEKOM University, Indonesia, for inviting Universiti Malaysia Perlis to contribute into our international academic discussion. And it's an honor to be here, to be part of the academic visiting lecture for our continuous academic discussion. Before I start presenting my slide presentation, I would like to know if everyone can hear my voice clearly. Can you hear clearly from my side? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let me begin my slide presentation. Hold on for a second. Okay, so now can you see the front page of the slide? The title, Law, Identity and Digital?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for response. To begin, Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all lecturers, students, and distinguished colleagues from STEKOM University, Indonesia, and all across from Malaysia, especially Universiti Malaysia Perlis, Universiti Teknologi Mara UiTM. Thank you for the contribution and inviting me to be part as the visiting lecturer of this international academic exchange. My name is Zamirul, and today I would like to take you on a journey for sharing perspective, a journey through identity, culture, digital expression, and how the law implication towards the digital expression, especially on sensitive issues, and how these elements can shape our cultural fabric and the law and society behavior in Malaysia and around the world. So I know this topic sounds maybe very serious about the law, about the digital expression, the environment, but I promise if once we explore the real stories, the actual cases, the real example, and the everyday examples, we can realize that this topic concerns all of us, especially on digital narrative. So let me start with a simple story. If you take an example, if we take a few years ago, if a teenager in Southeast Asia, he posts a short video on TikTok, it wasn't a professional video. It also wasn't scripted, but he was just expressing the frustration about sensitive ethnic issues about ethnic in his country. So he maybe had a few followers, maybe 300 to 400, below than 1,000 followers. But within 24 hours, his video can get viral and reach more than 2 million people. Why? Why digital expression matters today? Because the algorithm of the social media and we can say as a new media today, we found it as emotionally engaging. And suddenly people who didn't know him, maybe adults, politicians, or activists started debating about his content, the video content. Some maybe support him, some maybe attack him, and some maybe reported him. Eventually, he received a call from the authorities, and he said, I never wanted to start a national debate. I was just posting. So that is the world we live in digital era now. In this digital era, one person with one cell phone can shift national conversation. This is why we need to understand digital expression not only as communication, but as a legal, cultural, and it has the identity-based phenomenon. So there are three reasons why digital expression now has become so influential in our socio-cultural implication. The first is about speed, because a message can reach millions faster than very than any traditional media such as newspaper or TV station. So by then, hate and misinformation or malinformation often travels faster than the truth. And the second part is about the permanence. Even if you delete something, someone always ready to screenshot or screen record your sensitive content. And of course, after all the process, it can occur some emotional amplification. The platform do not reward calm content. So, but mostly social media or platforms, they reward emotional content, the anger, the fear, the identity crisis, and the pride. So this is not your fault, this is not my fault, but it is how the modern world platform operates. Even in United Nations, the campaign hashtag no hate campaign explain that digital platforms accelerate harmful narratives quicker than societies can respond. If you were together physically, I would show you some how hate spreads online. It begins only with single posts. But before I take you into how different countries regulate the digital expression, I want to pause for a moment and frame how the academic perspective we should discuss and should use together. Let me discuss about the issue Arab Spring in 2011, the Arab case insight. At that time, people across Middle East use social media, such as Facebook, and now we call it as X, but before that we call it as a Twitter, YouTube, and all of these social media platform. Most of people use to express frustration about the governance, the corruption, and injustice. And many call it as the Arab Spring 2011 as the first digital expression or digital revolution. So from one perspective, maybe the Arab Spring can symbolize as a citizens' voices or democratic voices finally being heard. But for academics, journalists, or human rights, but from another perspective, people also argue or debate that we also cannot ignore the aftermath in some countries during the Arab Spring involved chaos, the political instability, leadership vacuums, economic collapse, and humanitarian crisis. So what does this teach us, the aftermath of the Arab Spring? It teaches us that digital expression is powerful. It can empower societies, but if it unmanaged, it can also destabilize one country. As academics, we must hold both truths at the same time. We must acknowledge that the right of citizens to get the freedom of speech, and we must also acknowledge the responsibility of societies to maintain peace and facts. So this is why the topic today, not about choosing one side, not absolute freedom, not absolute control. So rather it is about balancing three critical dimensions: the factors, what is historical, culture, political factors, and what is the crisis dynamics and aftermath lessons. This balanced approach is important because it stops us from oversimplifying. So today, my perspective for my perspective topic, it is the perspective that I want to invite you to adopt is a balanced, analytical, and scholarly viewpoint. We study expression not only as a freedom, but it as a force with consequences. So now, let me bring you to one of the most, I think, popular but painful and globally recognized events in recent history in 2019. It's about the Christchurch mosque attack in New Zealand. On that day, the gunman entered with weapons, and with something even more disturbing is he has a mounted camera live streaming during the attack by doing a Facebook live streaming. So the live streaming took until 17 minutes at least, and the shooter broadcast the massacre in real time. So he wasn't just committing an act of violence, but he was performing it for an online audience. So let's watch the video. So yeah, just imagine within the first 24 hours, Facebook reported about 1 million re-uploads of that sensitive religious video. And on YouTube, it is reported that newly uploads of that screen record video keep appearing second faster than human moderators could take them down. So here we can understand that the attacker, the terrorist here, understood the power of social media. The Christchurch attack is not only an act of terrorism, but it was a demonstration of how dangerous digital tools can become when extremist ideology meets viral technology. So now let's we go around the world to study the two major models of regulating how they're regulating harmful digital content. For Germany, after several violent incidents linked with to the extremist online propaganda, so Germany passed law called the Network Enforcement Act, or NetzDG. This law requires major platforms like Facebook and YouTube to remove clearly illegal, based on their perspective, hate content within 24 hours. And the company also must remove other illegal content within 7 days and face fines up to 50 million if they fail to remove the content. German introduced this law because of its history. They learn from the past, the rise of Nazism, the genocide, the ethnic hatred. So for Germany, hate speech is not just offensive, but they can dictate that it is a very dangerous and crucial that must be have a strict law to avoid any circumstances. And supporters may say this law protects minorities and prevents the spread of extremist ideology. But the critics also have said platforms become too scared and may delete legitimate content, and it will cause reducing freedom of speech. But German teach us a lesson. When a country's history includes tragedy caused by hate speech, so the digital law still reflects that fear. And for the EU or European Union, we have a Digital Services Act, DSA, to regulate the platforms, not just the people. Because the EU, they took a different approach. They focus not only for the users, but they also focus on the platform itself. So under the Digital Services Act, the platform must be transparent about how the algorithm choose the content. And they believe that the platform must remove illegal content faster. So the system must be transparent and give users easy ways to report any misinformation. So a strong example, in the late 2024, EU find that application acts, formerly known as Twitter, 120 million of misleading verification labels and failing to protect users from fraudulent or harmful content. So this approach shows a shift that regulate the architecture, not only the actors. And in Malaysia, as a case study, the 3R framework, let us move to Malaysia, my home country. Malaysia is one of the most multicultural nations in the world. We have Malay, Chinese, Indian, Sabah and Sarawak ethnicities. We also practice and respect multiple religions. So shortly, we have a very unique constitutional monarchy. So because of this diversity, Malaysia has identified these three core pillars that must be handled with care. It is race, religion, and royalty. These three R is very related to Malaysia cultural fabric. And together, we can say it as a 3R. This topic become highly sensitive in digital space because they focus relate to dignity, our cultural identity, power, and belonging. But why 3R content must be controlled carefully? Okay, let me tell you a real safe Malaysian scenario. During your past elections season, there are many users uploaded a TikTok video implying that one ethnic group might take over another. So the video used very dramatic music, the content-wise, black and white filters, and exaggerate historical reference. Was it true? Not really. But was it emotional? Yes, exactly. Extremely. So within 24 hours, in just one day, the video had 1 million views. People were angry, some were scared, and some started fighting in the comments. So in this situation, authorities starting to step on, requesting the platform to remove such a misleading content, especially when the uploader or the content creator upload some misleading content that touch on sensitive 3R issues. So this is the challenge. 3R content spreads faster than we can calm the public. So when we talk about Malaysia as a case study, the 3R unique fabric, it is important to understand that Malaysia does not have a single consolidated 3R law. Instead, Malaysia uses a combination of existing legal frameworks that work together to manage sensitive speech while attempting to preserve our social harmony. To answer why this layered approach, because in Malaysia, the 3R issues are very deeply rooted in Malaysian history. We have a constitutional structure and multicultural identity. So these are not merely political topics, but they touch on emotional society, cultural, religious pillars of society. So let me take you walk through our four main legal instruments in Malaysia uses. The first one is the Sedition Act 1948. This is the first and perhaps most historically significant in our 3R legal framework, which dates back to the colonial era. But although it is an old law, it can continue to shape how Malaysia manage potentially inflammatory speech. So under this act, it has offers to incite the hatred, the contempt, the disaffection towards several protect institutions, including the Malay rulers, the federal or the state governments, the administration of justice, and other sensitive matters or issues that are relating to citizenship, language, and special positions under the law or institutions. And in Malaysia context, the Sedition Act function as a protective shield that to prevent speech that may ignite racial or religious or social tension. And we also have Act CMA, or the real name is Communication and Multimedia Act, CMA 1998. This is important tool in the section 233 in the CMA Act, a law that is very relevant for digital expression. So while the Sedition Act focused on institutional protection, this Act 1998 focused on online behavior, especially posts or online content that are indecent, offensive, or it's threatening, intent to annoy, or abuse or harass. So all of that negativity include under the Act 1998. And this is the provision most commonly used for social media cases. For example, imagine someone posts maybe a racial provocative comment on Facebook, maybe not directed to the Malay rulers or at the king, not attacking the government, not about the Malay constitutional issues, but simply insulting another ethnic or religious group. So this may not fall neatly under sedition, but it definitely harms social harmony. So here, the Act CMA 1998 will take an action. And number three, we have a penal code as a general law implication. The penal code provisions on hostility between groups. We also realize on certain section of the penal code, particularly those addressing acts that create groups based on religion or race. These provisions are important when speech goes beyond simple insults and begins to promote hostility, which can escalate into real-world consequences. For example, such as spreading false rumors that one religious group is planning to attack another religious group, or creating panic that may lead to violence among same religious group, and distributing materials that intentionally provoke intergroup hatred. So these provisions allow authorities to act when digital expression crosses from merely offensive into dangerous mobilization, similar to what we have seen in India, Sri Lanka, or even during certain global religious crises. And the last but not least, the Sharia offences enactment. This is for state level, or we call it as a peringkat negeri, because Malaysia has a dual legal system. We have civil and Sharia. Muslims are also bound by state Sharia laws, particularly regarding the insulting Islam religions, disrupting religious teachings or publishing content that contradicts with Islamic principles in Malaysia. So this law apply only to Muslims and fall under the jurisdiction of each state Sharia court. In the age of TikTok, we have now Instagram and YouTube. Some content touches on Islamic teachings or practice in ways that authorities may find it disrespectful or misleading. For example, a Muslim influencer misinterpreting the Islamic rulings or the viral videos that distort religious teaching. So here, Malaysia's approach is unique. We're combining civil law, communication law, criminal law, and religious law to manage 3R issues holistically. So the government position here is to maintain the harmony, and while the civil society position must have a definitions, must be clearer and be more consistent. Okay, so digital behaviors that amplify 3R issues. As we know, across Malaysia, we have several patterns appear. Now that we have explored that, Malaysia's legal tools look at why this law have become so relevant in the digital space, especially within the context of 3R issues. It is not only what people say online, but how the digital environment amplifies and transforms those message, especially on sensitive topic regarding the race, religion, and royalty. So anonymous accounts creating provocative content, videos edited to look scarier than reality, and also WhatsApp rumors spreading faster than official clarification, as I mentioned earlier, and influencers using ethnic or religious narrative only for views, and we can call it as a malinformation get created by some influencers. Okay, so about the global warning, about the we can see now the crisis about the Rohingya crisis. According to a multiple credible sources, including the United Nations, the report about the Rohingya community in Myanmar, certain group use Facebook to organize hate campaigns, misinformation, and dehumanizing content spread quickly, and also weak moderation failed to stop some dangerous narrative. This case is now taught worldwide as an example of how digital platforms can unintentionally inflame ethnic conflict when content spreads unchecked. Okay, so to closing, digital expression is not just a speech, it is power. Every country regulates differently based on history and values. Identity-based content spreads fastest online. Laws alone cannot fix digital harm, and also young people are the future guardians of digital society. So one quote from Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, he said that our ability to reach unity in diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization. So that's all for my sharing today. Thank you so much for the participation. And I get to back to Novita as our webinar's MC. Please, Novita.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. And for our participant, if you have any question for the speaker, please add them to the chat or you can raise your hand. Yeah, we have some questions here from participant. Yeah, for our first question, may I ask how Malaysia 3R framework, race, religion, and royalty is legally defined and operational within the country digital government structure? Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for the question. Actually, before I want to answer the question, we must understand that Malaysia's sensitivity around 3R, race, religion, and royalty, is shaped by our unique historical and constitutional development. So we are deeply multicultural society, and certain identity pillars are embedded in our constitution to maintain balance among communities. So I believe that every country has its own sensitive topics depending on their culture and identity. But in Malaysia, the 3R framework reflects whether it is based on traditional approach or we combine it with a now digital approach. It's have the same reflects to our local context for preserving social stability. So if uh, during the physical attack, it's also touched on the sensitive 3R. If the same context or content post online, so the law in Malaysia still has a same approach towards the same cases, but uh, in perspective of legal implications, it's based on jurisdiction results. That's my response for the question.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer. Maybe from another participant. Because no one else is asking attention. Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. And before I close this event, for all participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three for documentation. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one, 2, 3. Thank you for your good cooperation. Finally, we come to the physics lecture today. We would like to thank you for Mr. Zamirul for the wonderful information and sharing your knowledge. We hope this information will be beneficial for our participants. At least we will have more collaboration in the future. The physics lecture for today and here. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.